So we have a special meeting to discuss the fiscal year 2027 budget workstation. I have roll call, please.
Shelley? Mahler?
Yes.
Walling? Schott? Oh my gosh, this is an old one I copied.
That's not coming.
Andor,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
That's funny.
So we need a approval for the meeting agenda.
Move that to today's meeting agenda.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Andor,
Yes.
Walling,
Yes.
Mahler,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Okay, with that, we'll turn it over to Susie and Sven to tell us what we're doing here today.
I think Susie has most of it.
All right, well, first, I wanted to start off by discussing the levy rate for this fiscal year. Calculated the wages and the benefits and the debt service and what we need for the combined general fund levy, which we really don't have much of a choice what we're gonna get, but it's at least more than last year. So with our growth, we had 5.5% growth, so that means our combined general fund levy was decreased by 2%. So instead of having this current year, we have an 8.25% combined general fund levy. Now the next year, it's 8.09, but we will get about $55,000 more in the general fund just due to the valuation. So that's the 8.09. And then with our special revenue levies, like the insurance and IPERS and police trust, that's another 7.3 cents. And then with the debt service, and this is for the airport bond, that's another 0.93 cents. That will give us a levy of 17.91 cents per thousand, which is just about the same as the current year. The current year is about 17.92 or 9. It's not the lowest it's been, and it's not the highest, but we're trying to keep it. Still under 18. So at the meeting on Monday, what we'll do is we will set the public hearing for the first public first I never remember the name of it now. No, it is what the county sends, what the state is started 2 years ago, and the state sends it out to all property owners. I think it's
The max levy.
But no, it's a
It's not that anymore.
consolidated.
It's changed so many times. I don't even.
I was gonna say, I just typed it out. I think it's consolidated levy rate, yeah.
Send it out to every property owner will get it from the county, so we have to have it sent in. We will set the public hearing on March 3rd, but the public hearing won't happen until it's already sent out, and the county won't send it out until March 25th. So we'll have the first public hearing. The public hearing on this will be at 5:30 on April 6th. And then can't have any other item on that agenda. So then we will have to have that meeting at 5:30 and our regular meeting at 6. And then at 6, we'll set the public hearing to approve the budget. And then we'll have the meeting to approve the budget will be on the 20th. So it's kind of, usually we have a public hearing a lot closer, but it's because they want the hearing notice by 5th, that we can't have the hearing till after. So that gives us
We're gonna be able to have the adjustments to the existing year budget all included by then, or will we have to have a separate meeting fiscal year?
well, yeah, we will always have a separate meeting for the budget amendment. We might know we'll probably have an idea of what we're going to do, but we'll have to have another meeting in May.
Real quick, Mayor. I don't believe I got a motion or a second to start discussion before Susie jumped right into her lovely
I did.
explanation. She was really ready to go.
Do it all.
Motion that we discuss.
All right,
I'll second that.
thank you.
We need roll call on that, I guess.
I don't know, I'm brain dead today, for the past like few months, yes. Okay, and the next item I want to discuss is, since this meeting is to discuss capitals for the department heads, I want to start off by discussing how much revenue there is from local option sales tax that we can use for capital. Now, there's quite a difference between what we receive in local option sales tax and I'm gonna put that up on
Yep, I'm getting her.
Liz is gonna put a item up on the screen, it'll show it, and I'll discuss it too. So we will receive approximately 3 million in local option sales tax revenue. That has stayed pretty steady. And of that, we transfer 20% to the maintenance fund. Sorry. We transfer. We transfer 600,000 to the maintenance fund, and that's used to maintain city buildings and for the maintenance department, like Nate and Barry and their. And then we need to then we have an annual transfer. We transfer to the hot mix asphalt overlay project. We do that every year. That's kind of a rolling amount. As soon as we finish one,
I don't know what's going on. No, because if I saw that, is it gonna cut off the recording?
It should be the recording from the camera.
Duplicating.
Can you see it, Sherry?
I'll send it to Chris and he can open it. Okay, Chris, it should be coming to you.
the green one in the middle. So the green at the top, that's the transfer to the maintenance fund. Then after that, in the yellow at the top, we transfer 211,000 to the HMA project. Now that we transfer every year, we transfer 130,000 from road use. And then the remainder of it from local option sales tax. So we have that HMA project every 4 or 5 years. Then we pay the loan and we start again. And then we have the loan payment for the airport, and that is 204,000. And then we have the loan payment for the McCurry Center renovation 2020 GEO bond, and that's 189,000. And then we have some transfers that we do, and that's in the blue. We transfer $50,000 to general fund for community development. We transfer, depending on council, a little over 8,000 to Dallas County Local Housing Trust Fund for our share, our donation. We transfer 40,000 to general fund for marketing. We're going to transfer, we usually transfer 20,000 for some kind of planning, and this year strategic planning. And then I have 12,000 in there that local option usually transfers for cleanup costs. Now the orange, that's like for properties. Not like a mowing or a, or. Like a dilapidated, yeah. Now, in orange, that's transfers to eliminate deficits to other funds. So we don't have any revenue for the Carnegie Library. So to keep that open, we transferred 30,000. Same with Towncraft. We do have revenue coming in now, at least in that fund with rent. But we still need to transfer about 10,000. We need to transfer 250,000 to Hotel in the Post. Because that is for their operating costs, like what we pay Nate, part of what we pay Nate and what his cost is to purchase like toilets and fix whatever needs fixing over there, plus property taxes and property and casualty insurance. Now that does not include capitals. John will be requesting those capitals a little bit later in the meeting. And then about 12,000 to American Legion Building Fund for operating utilities. And then we want to transfer about 100,000 to the benefit fund to start eliminating some deficit that we had built up there. We want to get rid of that. That is when some insurance and we had some increases that we weren't expecting in that fund. And we tried to alleviate some of the stress on the road use tax fund, taking their benefits out of the benefit fund instead of road use tax. And then local option maintenance, they received that 600,000. Their wages and operating costs are around 380,000, which leaves about 220,000 available for their capital. We also have some in the gray at the bottom. We also have some closeout we need to transfer. The Frog Creek Campground project was a REAP project we need to close out, and that's around 80,000. We need to close out the 2020 Downtown Street project. We're going to transfer part of it this current year, and then next year we'll need to transfer 355,000, and then the last year close out the STT capital project. We still need to transfer $23,000. So we probably do have some wiggle room in there, but we have available around 800,000 then to spend back. So with that being said, we don't have a lot of capital this year. But the department heads wanted to talk to the council and talk a little bit about their department needs. Just give you guys a heads up on what's going on in their department. So if you want to start at the top, we tried to put departments all together so they wouldn't have to get up and down so much. So if John wants to start.
They all have the same key for.
Yeah.
So at the top there, we've got some general maintenance things that need to be done. A bit of a capital improvement plan for the hotel pad team. The boilers, the first one there, current boilers that are in that facility are mid to late 90s boilers. They've seen their useful life in the last, year. They've put quite a bit of time and energy into fixing them and servicing them. It's be a really good thing for the building to have boilers replaced. The second one on there is kitchen hood. Right now, the kitchen hood is not serviceable or maintainable. We need a new one. It needs to be rerouted so that you can service it and clean it and maintain it. Currently, right now, we're not getting a company out there, so there's a little bit of liability issue with that kitchen exhaust hood. And then another thing is the walk-in freezer that is currently attached to the chilled water loop. The chiller tower is running all the way along. This request would be to separate that off of the chiller tower, and the chiller would have standalone units. I think they said there'd be 3 of those units, or 4 of them that would service the walk-in freezers there, and then we wouldn't have to run the chiller all winter long, which that chiller eats up a lot of energy. This would be a nice little improvement to cut down on some energy costs and create some efficiency there. Moving down the list there, we'll start in recreation here. So Marco Perlo is our rec coordinator. He is bouncing around and painting soccer fields and doing a bunch of maintenance outside in preparation for his spring and fall summer programs. Right now they have 1 vehicle out there. It's an Escape. He's loading the painter up in the back of a Escape. The painter's not light, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Really, a Gator would be ideal for him to be able to go out into the field and do what he needs to do appropriately. We've got some Surrey bike rentals that are coming, so having a Gator to kind of act as a relief line in case somebody gets in trouble or something. With the deal, we've had some talks about maybe switching that out with a vehicle or a little truck or something, but all the prices are about the same. Whether you talk about a Gator or a Maverick, prices are about the same. Infield groomer. So here's one right now down at baseball fields. Those fields have seen a lot of wear and tear over the years. A lot of the volunteers that are going down there are using the baseball organization and the softball organization. They purchase 3-wheelers, bunker rakes, and that we're borrowing softball and bunker rake to groom the fields. Volunteers over the years are in it to go. If they go a little fast, right? They sling infield material to the outside of the field. Over time, it builds up, creates lips, and then we dump more infield material in the center of the field. They keep driving, creates lips. Anyway, this infield groomer, we did budget for it last year. We're asking for it again. We've come a long ways in zero-turn technology. This bunker rake will take things to another level. We will own it, so we will be able to go out there, do detailed maintenance to all the fields, alleviate some of the pressure on volunteers. McCurry building, the lobby furniture. Some of you are familiar with that. That lobby furniture is in a shape, it's been around. I've been here. A lot of it has been reupholstered over the years, and all of it has had multiple deck screws put in the backs to keep them all together. It is time to move on with those and replace them. Skip one here for a minute. The Surrey bike storage. So some of you are also familiar and rode those Surrey bikes, some parades this year. We have a pretty good plan. We can buy a storage shed. We have a location for it on site at the rec center. It'll look nice. 4 garage stalls. It'll be easy to dish them out. Talked with Kurt Cable, the Dallas County Conservation Director. We're working on a partnership for doing destination rides where if there's county-owned property along the trail, we can have them drop the bike off there and share returning the bikes back to town. We talked about just like a short ride, rec center to Forest Park Museum, tour the museum, package deal. Talked about that. I think being able to easily dish out those Surrey bikes out of the rec center, out of the front desk would be great. A storage facility will do it really easy for us. Then the other 2 major things on here, pool renovation and a drain and clean. Kind of a hot topic here a little bit. In October, our aquatics coordinator was doing his normal day, noticed that some of the ceiling in the pool was failing. Had maintenance come out on their inspection. All of the anchor points on the grid of the drop ceiling of the pool, all of those were starting to fail. We got a hold of Hometitch Engineering, structural engineer. He came out, did an investigation. He identified 2 really key points here. Strutting that held the treated water that heats the pool water. The strutting that holds that the piping up had completely failed and was an emergency. We had a company come out, place those. The other issue that we have is the drop ceiling itself. The grid, every anchor point for the grid is anchored by two spots, main and then a safety. 50% of all of those anchor points are broke. Fish gave us until March to try to have something done with the drop ceiling. Through more conversations, like obviously that is a way quick turnaround for a giant project. Jim was able to give us an extension to August with caveats that we have to measure hard points on the deck. He told us, I think, 10 hard points around the deck we want to measure weekly. We ended up picking 18 hard points on the deck because we just want to have more data than we should, because I am just kind of nervous about it. So we went ahead and started collecting that data a little early. As of right now, it seems fairly stable, but with the condition that it's in, clearly we need to take some sort of action. So went down the rabbit hole of having two different engineering companies, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but it's a means to an end. JEO Engineering is they're experts in pools in the state of Iowa, and ISG, who previous was SVPA, and then Eclipse Design Group, and then ISG, they got bought out. SVPA was the original people who did original assessment of the rec center back in 19. Then they got bought out by Ethos, then did the renovation in 2020. We have since did a evaluation of the pool in 24. And then that was with a partnership between JEO and ISG. So we're kind of geared up and ready for this in a way, which is oddly nice, but what's not nice is the price tag behind it. To do just the ceiling and get the ceiling where it needs to be, there's a lot of components that go along with the ceiling. It acts as the HVAC system, so it's a plenum. It gets pressurized above, which is not helping the supports. So it gets pressurized, and then that treated air gets pushed down through diffusers. The idea is that we replace that, then we'll clearly fighting. It's just both of those two projects combined comes out to be about $1.85 million to do that work. To do a full pool renovation, to also cross off some code issues that we have and to kind of really liven up the pool again, you're looking at about 5.8 million to really rev it up. That obviously there's a lot of variables there. That's an estimate. At the time I asked for 4, that was, I mean, obviously we've gotten down the road a lot farther with numbers. So those are big decisions. I think we should try to go down in the near future.
What kind of ceiling would we, the proposal that we put in? I assume it would be something other than drop ceiling.
Yeah, so we'll take the drop ceiling out and then they'll prep that concrete. It's a concrete ceiling. So they'll prep that and then do it in epoxy. And then we'll have to redo lighting. We'll have to redo HVAC. There'll probably have to be socked up that is running there to push that treated air throughout that. And notification system will save the building even longer. We've had conversations with engineers about useful life. If we put this kind of money into the pool, is it going to last us another 45 years? And the response was yes. So we are investing money into infrastructure that we intend to have for another 45 years. Which is great news, you know, we don't have to fill it in. So anyway, if anybody wants to have more conversations about that, I have a ton of information, one-on-ones, whatever you guys want to do, by all means. I've got service agreements for engineering for this. So I'm ready to go whatever you guys want to do, but
clarification. The $50,000 for the drain clean this year, that's like at every 4 whatever year.
That's right, yeah.
Thing. And we could do that if, when as you guys all saw the letter from our athletic director, she's a little worried about the safety of that pool and committing to have our swim teams in there. I get that. And, I guess the big takeaway for me, I've talked to John, talked to Beth, I've talked to Susie, I've talked to Sven, I've talked to Dirk, I've talked to Vicky. Talked to a lot of people about this. The rec center is pretty near and dear to my heart. Spent a lot of time as a kid there. Fact of the matter is that this has been getting kicked down the street to us since 1983. Those pumps and filters are original to the building.
Yes, they are, yep.
Yeah,
The actual motor itself, has been replaced, just in the last 5 years, but the piping and the overall system is a gravity fed filtration system, and it is.
some of these things, I mean, most all, there's some checklists, things that are a little bit vain. These things are actual safety issues. These are things that, thing that I said to maybe Becky or John, this isn't our fault currently. So
Yeah,
just something
correct.
that we inherited as a group. However, something catastrophic were to happen in the very near future, that will be our fault. So, and I don't want to be part of that. I know there's conversations about money and how much we do or don't have. But I believe safety of children and just, that is a huge piece, that rec center is a huge piece of our community. Does enhance our living situations here. So I would like personally to have some more attention.
Yes, so I've had a lot of conversations with Jim Komatich, is this a catastrophic failure all at once? He did not think that it would be a catastrophic, like a domino effect, and it all comes down. He said it'll be a gradual, that's why we have these hard points we're measuring on a daily, weekly, so if there's any deviation that's over a quarter inch, we are to call him, so whatever we decide to do to move forward, there will be a caveat for high school swim team that we can proceed forward, but have an alternative plan so you can switch gears mid-season. Same with our own summer swim team. The other program. Where we're at.
Well, I'm on the board. And you brought to our attention about timing.
Yeah.
If something does happen, where we have to get going on that, you might want to.
Yeah, sure. So it's like if I started tomorrow and I called the engineers, it'll take them 2 to 3 months to do just bid docs and then put it out to bid for a month. And award a bid, get a contract going with a company. Their mobilization time could be anywhere from a month to 2 months. That already puts us into September, October, most likely. Construction wouldn't even start before January of 27, most likely. So if we can get through this season without the ceiling causing us problems, I would foresee us being able to stay open until January. That kind of lies on, I think, how much data we are collecting and how well we can present that to Jim Komatich, who did the investigation on that.
Has there been any movement on those measurements thus far since we started?
Hundreds of inches. So most likely, because it is a plenum, if the fan was blowing a little bit harder one day versus other, it certainly flexes a little bit, but nothing to me that was in that 1/10 of an inch. Everything's been in the hundreds or thousands, so which is to me is once again, 1/4 inch is 0.25, nothing is that one very. But once again, I don't have a good estimate of when or how. So
You never know.
And
yeah,
Susie, we got the engineer's estimates in the last couple of days or something. So Susie did reach out to PFM and Dorsey and Whitney to talk about what a bond would look like for this. So that process has kind of started. So if we would start that soon, we could have funds, I think it was around July.
Yeah,
So
we'd be able to do the 1.85. We'd
Yeah.
have to wait. Since we just did another bond issue, we can only do bond issues for 10 million in a year.
Sure.
So we couldn't do the 6 months too, but that would have to wait till next.
Feeling so.
$850,000 just to tear down. There's so much that goes into it though, because it's part of the HVAC system, it kind of triggers major changes to the air handler. Lighting is a big thing. We are already underlit, so there's a whole bunch of rules and regulations that revolve around pool lighting. We will have to double down on the amount of lighting. Obviously, everything is LED now, so amperages are shorter. I'm hopeful that our original electrical panel that feeds the building has enough capacity and juice there to feed the dehumidification system and or extra, lighting to bring us up to code. So I don't think there will be a problem with that, but I also won't know until I have an MEP engineer on staff, do those evaluations.
We're under.
Yeah. Yeah, in the 850, obviously I've had different conversations with 2 different organizations, and the pool experts are saying the estimate for the architects were maybe a little short on their estimate for lighting. They had it at like 80 or 90, and JEO was pretty confident it'd be more like 130. So like there's some very slight. In the grandiose scheme of things, there's some slight variables, but once again, all of that stuff and all of those decisions can be made the engineering process when they start putting together actual plans.
So my understanding correctly, what has to be done right now would probably be around 4 million. Do everything we'd like to do, be 5 or 6 million.
What we need to do right now, in my opinion, is $1.85 million.
Okay.
If you want to get another 45 years out of the pool and not have to shut it down on a biannual basis, like you got to understand the work that's being done there, the construction is going to be 6 months. And we're going to have to lay off lifeguards. We're going to have to rehire lifeguards. That training takes time. Not that we're afraid to do that work, but I'm just saying there's going to be a whole bunch of like scheduling issues, and I'm canceling one program, which is our summer and winter swim team are our largest programs that we offer at the rec center. We service 120 to 130 kids for both of those programs. It's the Great Feeder program, and it's the girls swim team. I don't have to explain that stuff to you guys, you understand it, but anytime that you decide to do a project in the pool, any one of those things will get disrupted through a construction project. So, once again, we don't want to hurt. I don't want to lose high school girls swim.
As it's being shut down, what is the backup plan? You gonna be using the pool somewhere else?
Yeah, that would be the idea. We've not gone down the road yet to creating a partnership. Our current coach right now, Dana Stein, does winter swim team. It's summer swim team or winter swim. So Dana's already from Guthrie Center. Guthrie Center has a pretty strong summer program that he does. So it would be ideal that if something were to happen, we would just try to funnel our kids to Guthrie Center. Indoor in the winter time is a wax boon is probably the closest option. I think the boys swim team goes to Boone right now, so that's definitely an option on the table.
Would it benefit us to try to do the project one instead of closing it to get this done and then open it? Oh, now we gotta go back to this.
That would
So
be
it's gonna
ideal.
be closing it and opening it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that because I want to spend a bunch of government dollars. I'm just saying like to get another 45 years out of the pool, I would say, yeah, we should close it down once and do the project and then open it back up for another 45. That's how it's been done right now, right? Like in 2020, when we did phase 1, we closed down the whole entire building. We were lucky that COVID happened because the contractors kept working and we were closed to the general public anyway. So nobody really, COVID shut down, and then when everything opened back up, we had a new rec center. It worked out great.
We don't want to bring COVID back.
We don't want to bring COVID back, no, but we definitely want construction projects to run nice and smooth and, so anyway, more to, and there need to be more conversations around that. Hopefully we'll have those in the very near future.
Susie, can you elaborate on something Barb said on the bond? Explaining the breakdown. It's not that we don't have the bonding capacity, it's just we have to wait until 2027.
We need
Yeah.
a timeline from John of basically when the pay request. is. Because if a lot of them aren't due until after January 1st, then we could probably swing having the bond in
For the
next
full
year.
amount.
Yeah,
January 1st.
yeah, but we won't be able. We could, yeah, we could, instead of going 185, we could probably go up to 250. 2,500,000 right now. But would have to get the rest after.
The money's there. You just gotta have a schedule.
Well, you would have to go out for a bond for that.
We're just talking about, this could be a pool closure, not a rec center.
Correct, yeah, correct, yeah, and once again, like, kind of people use the hot tub and the saunas, those are really hot pieces of that puzzle. You know, we've thrown out ideas about getting, some UV sauna, like individual one-person saunas and temp them in a studio space as a bit of a relief, like people could still go in and have a couple options to do that kind of recovery stuff. All of that, just kind of fun there for that kind of thing.
But we have to, during this process, close the pool down periodically for a day or two, or they do something with the electricity or bringing stuff in or out or anything.
As soon as construction starts, we'll have to drain the pool before construction even starts. We will do that ourselves in-house. And then I'm assuming a scaffolding company will come, build scaffolding over the pool, that they can then bring lifts in and.
I'm just saying that the project won't disrupt the rest of the rec center.
It shouldn't, no, I mean, we will do everything in our power to make sure the rest of the building. Okay, yep, so. We good there?
Just one second, so the bond, the 10 million sets over on January 1st. So.
Well,
we will
yeah.
Look for that, the rest of them. I know that I talk a lot, I just want to say it again, don't think anybody in this room wants to preside over a rec center closage because of maintenance issues. I'm certain that I know that nobody wants to preside over some kind of cost. I think we need to treat this bunch of. I have another question for John that doesn't pertain to pool. Ball field groomer.
Yes.
What about fences? Do we have anything in there for fences? I know we talked about that a while ago.
Be a minute.
Okay.
Yep, we'll jump to cemetery quick, just staying in order down the sheet. So cemetery, real quick, we have two pieces of equipment there that need rotations. This is all standard. We rotate mowers and gators every 4 or 5 years. It keeps your resale value high or your trade value high, so that we're not buying outright $45,000 gators every 4 years or every whatever, be 10 years, however long we want to keep it. Keeps equipment costs down, so breakdowns and stuff, which is good. We are commercial mowers. Just two things at the cemetery, rolling into maintenance. We've got a 2002 Ford F-250 that had been passed down for generations, it seems like. That truck is a rust bucket, and we would like to switch that out with another van. Probably one, if you've seen Nate's van running around, it's a large van. It holds all the main equipment. I think conversations with Nate, this one will be more like a smaller transit van, and it'll hold different types of maintenance equipment, more like cleaning, janitorial, custodial stuff. Let's see, your cleaning equipment. This is another big one. I know it's $110,000. We're talking about upgrading cleaning equipment in facilities. This will service 6 to 7, I'll say 8 buildings will capitalize on cleaning automations. So like, Roomba vacuums, Ben and I have been talking about using commercialized Roomba vacuums for a while now. We just so happened to convert to a different cleaning distributor supplier. They were able to do some data analytics for us, really give us some amazing data, which I will certainly push out and share with everybody if you'd like. It kind of shows where we lack in automations or what do they call it, Nate? Optimizations, sorry. So anyway, we did one round of this. It basically breaks down and says we have 4 part-time cleaners. The amount of time that it takes to actually clean all of our buildings, all 8 of our buildings in a good way requires 800 man hours. We are not touching the surface of that. Our staff are not doing all of the things that we could be doing. Not because they're not working hard enough, it's because their list of to-dos are much longer than their 4 hours that we're asking them for. So some of this stuff, I mean, if you break this down and divide that 110 by the 8 buildings, you're talking about $12,000 per building in upgraded cleaning equipment. That should cut down on man hours. It brings everybody a little bit closer to having an equal shared workload.
What would be automated on?
A walk behind floor scrubber versus a mop. Stuff like that cuts down on man hours to clean the floors, clean the bathroom. The rec center has a ton of carpet, the library has a ton of carpet. It's like anything else. They make fancy equipment nowadays that can do this stuff super efficiently. As part of the maintenance division, we see the need for it, right? If you're going to grade the cleanliness of our buildings, 1 through 10, 1 being a ignored gas station bus stop, and 10 being a hospital surgery room. Where do you want our rec center? Where do you want City Hall? If you pick a number, there's a cost and amount of man hours associated with that level of cleanliness. So I think part of what we're doing here will get us into that 6 range, which is much better than where we are currently at. Even though with the first round of optimization, you're gaining a ton. And I think most of the staff and department heads that are here can attest their buildings are a lot better than what they ever have been. So we want to continue that notion, not asking for people, wages, we're talking about equipment that we didn't maintain, just oversee running.
John, my friend, we're gonna have to speed this up a little bit.
Forklift, you guys have seen the maintenance facilities. We're material handling is a thing now. We're doing that for all the facilities. We want to upgrade the north side of the maintenance shop. Moving into parks. Once again, rotary brush mower. It's a 12-foot brush hog. We've got a bunch of property that is wildflowers and Iowa Street wetlands, Long Park Creek, campground area, all that stuff. Low impact mower, better product again. Gator rotations normal, 1585 mower rotations normal. Disc mulcher for a skid loader. Aids in the management of Brownsfield area, Perkins Park. It's all dead ash trees. Mulch, cleanup property. Ball field fence replacement. Here's 92 grand ball field fencing. Fencing's terrible. It's been a hot topic. You guys have been harassed by that, by people harassed, but you know what I mean. 92,000 will do a baseball field and a softball field. You could cut that in half and we could do 1 field. There's 7 baseball fields down there, all 7 fields. The fencing is in bad shape. They are 100 years old. You can do that in any way you want to. I wanted a balanced approach. Baseball field versus softball field. We'll do 2 of those for a couple of years in a row here, and we can have the fencing replaced. And then outdoor pickleball courts. This ask is to design and have a plan so that we could go out for funding and grants to do a legitimate outdoor pickleball facility. It is a very popular sport. It's probably time that we do something impressive. The mini pitch, it would be very similar to that. That mini pitch at Pet Park, you've seen it, $350,000 project. It would be something very similar to that, specialized in pickleball. And I'm done.
Thank you, Doc.
Very good.
Just real quick on the ballparks, the Little League has some money that they can also, that they would like to also put towards that.
We are working very closely with those organizations.
And it's,
Hi.
Hi.
I don't, I'm not asking for $4 million. Because we have a very lovely building that we've been really good stewards of and that you all have always taken care of, so. Mine are just pretty basic things. And I'll refer to Nate for anything that's mechanical, because that's not what I went to school for. So the first one that I have is our annual computer and tech rotations. We have approximately 16 staff computers and 12 public computers. We have them on a rotation where we rotate them and buy new every 5 years. And so the average cost for a computer is about $1,000. So we will need to be replacing about 12 of those between the staff and the public ones. And as you know, the public uses our computers a lot. We had over 5,000 uses in the last year. Over 14,000 wireless uses over the whole year. So important to keep those up to date and available for our patrons. So I'm asking for 12,000 total for that. This is where an air volume box control upgrade. And Nate will tell me if I'm saying this wrong, but basically the little sensors, right, that sense like the air temperature thingy.
each unit controlled individual space. Actuators are paying cascading like continuing.
Original to the building, so that would be 19.
They're paying individually replacing them once.
And I think that this quote was pretty low too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty. So 25,000 roughly for that. And then the next big thing is an air condenser replacement for the building, which my friend Nate told me is handles the cooling for the library. Current unit has issues and requires a great deal of extra time for call-ins to reset the unit. So basically every time it gets tripped, Nate or Barry or somebody. So, which happens a lot. And yeah, like just sitting here. Yeah, we get text messages whenever that happens. And so, yeah, so that's happened a lot. So that is $112,000. That is not something that is like has to be done, but Nate would really like to have it done. And if Nate wants it done, then I also want it done. Nate knows what he's doing. And then the last thing that I have is for material purchases at 40,000. We normally do about 45, but I lowered that because I know that capitals are very tight. So the basic standard for any library is to do 3% of your collection needs to be updated and weeded every year. So we have roughly 40,000 copy collections. So that would be roughly about 2,000. And so average cost of a book nowadays for just a regular print is $20. Large print is $30. So the other thing is we do a lot of e-resources now. And so our ebook collections, those are usually anywhere from like roughly $2,000 a month for that. But they're very well used and very well liked by the people in our community. So, and with all that being said, those numbers that I've all given you, we also supplement with additional private funds so that we can keep our library up to a higher standard. Anybody have any questions for me?
This is the mechanical system that Nate was telling you about 112, 376. Nate, can you speak on that? It keeps shutting off and they call you, they text you.
So the current condenser outside, I don't know how old it is, it's been a problem since they installed it. Never, we've had plenty of things out, lots of money. Figure out the issue.
to no avail. Every time the temperature change, hot to cold, so overnight slightly different than day, we get trips out. Like show up at 6 a.m. 5 o'clock at night because they were changing the air temperature aside, so also the building gets the short period of time when it's hot. So we come in anytime they call, which is not to their fault. So we're hoping with my talks with the company, talk to, got estimates from newer system issues, upgraded, it's all newer technology. And we're actually doing it the cheapest way possible, by not going with the full air handler inside, just outside, which is the cheapest way, which is the most affordable. But it's gonna save my time. I mean, every time I get a call, I don't know, I'm salary. But if I send somebody else, it's time and a half. It's all weekends. If it happens on a Sunday, still go. They may not be open, but then Monday. Or, whatever. More of it's just trying to keep and every time they can shut down, humid, not on the books. Everything is all about controlled environment. Without tripping out affects the environment. Every other building has updated stuff. When we're working on it other places, but they're the last one to have.
That's new to, that's, additional to the building.
I don't think it's original to the building. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I know that it's been a problem since day one. I'm not sure. But they are something that's bought more often than other things because they run stop during the summer, they do wear out better than others. But like we got a new one on the roof of this place, they got all new over at the rec center. Newer units on. Last one probably.
No, it's not.
What's that?
The newer ones are not.
Less, everything is less problem, but I don't get called out on those. Ever. Occasionally, that's our job. We're kind of heavy. I would say probably every single day, beginning of spring, fall, like the temperature change. If we stay hot and we're fine, great. This one jumps up down in 10.
Like when Iowa weather.
Yeah, like it's been, I've been over there probably every day. I'm changing in the afternoon to 30 at night, 40 at night.
And I only slept with my hands so much.
Just, it's one of those things we can continue doing it, but I wanted to get it on the list for even future years if it happens.
And what's the breakdown? What's the actual cost of that? So you don't give an exact number, like the actual piece.
So I do not have, when they send me a bill, I do not get an itemized bill. Okay. that is 112, 336 labor at every piece. So it says including refrigeration piping, all new lines into the building. Electrical has to be updated or whatever they need to do to update that. So it's just on a wall, training time. So we rarely get bids that come in. So we do get some, but most of the time we get most.
Is there any value in a giant secondhand kind of working?
No. I would say no, I've never, maybe okay for a home, but a commercial application. Right. Also, you gotta find something because they have, these are a certain kind of unit, so they admit that exact application, so if you get lucky, you find one that's whatever tonnage, I think. So we're actually gonna have some redundant, if this plan goes through, it'd be redundancy, they're actually putting units in that are half. 2 units, so they would cycle, where the one wouldn't run all the time, that wasn't put in here. But one of the things they had to cycle them off and on, so then that's where you can do a lead lag system. Other things to help. I only have one real done. One would do the whole building.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go through this fairly quick because mine's fairly large as well. So starting off with garbage. I have $15,000, which is an annual garbage truck replacement, for the tires. That we go through a lot of tires, at least one set per truck, and most of them have 10 tires on them. So, the next thing is a new arm truck. What I can say is the one that we have now is 2021. We paid $265 for it back then. A new one is $450,000. And it does not matter if it's a New Way or McNeilius, that is price. And so, this is a huge need. We're gonna continue to do garbage. We have to upgrade this truck.
Do we get a trade in the current one?
I would keep the old one, to be honest with you, the backup. Because when they do go down, you have to do it by hand. And so this would be at least having a backup one. But I would not get a New Way again. That's what all of our trucks are. I would switch. Had a lot of problems. It's called about oil and stuff on the ground. The pumps had 4 pumps put on this truck. It's not our fault. It's manufactured. We're holding on to a bill for almost $15,000. It just went down again. It's down there right now, getting another $15,000 pump put on it. It's not just us. Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, all around. They're having the same issue. So, but it's very important. I mean, garbage, that is a bread and butter industry for the city of Perry. And I think if we're going to keep going down that road, we used to replace trucks every 2 years. Every 2 years, we just keep rotating with them. We've gotten out of that just because of the cost of things. So, but that is that's a very important piece of equipment. I'm going to go on to Public Works now, and honestly, all of our stuff's expensive. So it's the nature of the beast. We have a 2008 plow truck. This would be replacing that. Transmission's going out on that. About $20,000 to replace that truck, but it's almost 20 years old. We like to rotate them every 15. So you're looking at $250,000 for a new completely new plow truck. This is a John Deere Gator for us. This is something that we could use for spraying downtown when we mow the highway for weed eating, doing stuff like that, instead of having to take a pickup out there, having a Gator, kind of like the other departments do. Next one is a very important one too. It is a new end loader, $225,000. Our current one is a 11. Is that right, Sven? I think that I'm pretty sure it's 2011. So 15 years old. It gets used every day. It's got over 6,000 hours on it. So usually when they hit 4, it's either you keep them or you trade them, or 3,000 past that. That's $225. That's after trading. So that's to replace that. And this will be the fourth time I've tried putting in for a loader. It gets used every single day. You all see it out, nonstop, snow removal, whatever. So it's a bread and butter piece for us. And then with that also is a different kind of a brush bucket, which it would work out at the debris site for sorting out logs, debris, different stuff like that. What we have now, it's good for grabbing debris, like in a cleanup or moving stuff around, but it's not really good for like sifting stuff where you can sift out the ash and stuff like that. So that's just something we put in for. Another thing that I tried putting in for a few years is putting some funds aside for a new public works facility. I looked at doing like an addition at ours, working with Bolton and Mink. That'd be very hard with the Frog Creek right there, DNR regulations, floodplain, all that stuff. But I think it's something that has to be, just like pool, like the pool needs done 10,000%, but I think we're really gonna have to think about a public works, probably a new facility something. I think a lot of you guys have been in there where, the derecho came through and insurance wouldn't cover it because the beams in the ceiling are rusted out. So, and it's small, it's put in, 60 years ago or whatever. So I'd just like to start building funds with that. I know everything's very, very tight, but that's something we do. I've been doing this for like 4 years, and that is putting money aside from the VOP sales tax to pay for concrete repairs around town. So we put some out of road use tax, then we pay for that, some of that out of low VOPs. And so where you've seen around town where we hit these different areas, like up by the elementary school, just all around where I think you guys have all noticed where there's been patches. That's where we're paying for this, is out of this money that we request. Crack sealing, that's another thing that we've been doing, trying to do every year, is sealing up the cracks on these roads so the water doesn't get in there. start popping these roads out. There's 61 lane miles in town, so there's a lot to do. But we had never done this before, and I think we're doing a really good job of doing that. So, it's all right, I'll move on to wastewater. This lab testing equipment, those guys know a lot more than I do, but basically with this piece of equipment, it allows them to do a bunch of tests at one time. It tests that they cannot do now. And I can't recall what it's all. I have my phone on me, I'll tell you, but it's basically, they do different testing, nitrates, different stuff like that. They have to take that to Des Moines to get processed. If we had this piece of equipment, they can do their own testing. So it's all in one testing machine. So, because they're very regulated out there by the DNR, that they have to do certain tests and every day. That's what runs the plant. That's what keeps, the DNR regulates everything. So this is a piece of equipment that they would really like to have. The other thing is $50,000 towards plant pumps and generator maintenance out there. I don't know if you guys remember from the open house, the generator out there is absolutely huge. And that has to be gone through at least every other year. With a full go through, like they'll change oil and everything like that. It's supposed to be gone through every 2 years. So, and just with all the pumps, let's just put some money aside to, treat that, maintain the stuff that's, new, but still has to be, have maintenance done to it. Next is lining of sewers, getting ready to, you guys approve that, where we're doing about 5,000 foot very soon here, whenever they come back to town. They're out in Omaha right now. They got called out to a huge job out there, but I want to keep doing that. What we found, these areas, I think it's going to help tremendously what we found. And I've already started a list for 2027 because we already have this done. We've already found areas. I've already found 5 blocks that could use it tomorrow that are full of tree roots because of the joints. So I really am, I'm a firm believer in keeping that project going. Let's see. Can't hardly see. Okay, cleaning, more sewer cleaning. We're getting ready to start. We have our town broken into 11 zones. We're going to do zones 3, 5, 7 this year. Next year, I'd like to do zones 3, 8, 9. So we keep cleaning, televising like every 4 years, like on a 4-year rotation. It makes the DNR happy, and it makes the system operate well. So keeping money for that. Let's see. Things off a little. So
after you got your cleanings, your
Yeah, okay.
emergency stuff, manhole.
$50,000 for is that for the man?
Yeah, so 50
emergency
backup root cutting and sewer lines.
Yeah, so that's like where we have a problem on the, in the middle of the night or whatever. And sometimes somebody's backed up, you gotta call MVP or call EJ Services if it's just to get them flowing. And then the other one is
100,000 for your rehab on spray lining of the sanitary manholes.
yeah, so that is something we're looking at starting to do is basically rehab that manholes like we would the pipes. So where we can spray in there and keep the I&I out of those manholes from coming in. I was pretty hesitant to do that until we kept going with the lines. I want to make sure the lines are taking have most priority, then we come back and do the manholes. Just make that a whole sealed up process, especially heavy rains and stuff like we experienced before.
Susie, did you want to touch on, if, just so everybody notices, this is not, it's capitals, but it's not local option.
This is from the sewer fund. But we'd still need to look and see how much is available after we pay our debt service and operating in transfer.
Well, I just got a question on all capital, but to me, a lot of this was maintenance stuff, like cleaning and tires and are they really capital?
The reason I would say we put in these in, which we have for 4 years, is because of the general fund so tight. I mean, for those things, that there's not a lot of money for that, back in the day, we probably would have had enough money in little block sales tax to buy a brand new end loader, you know, that we could have just paid for it out of the budget. Now, it's bring in $1 million, spend $1 million. There's no give or take. I mean, if you want to.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have we buy a lot, but then we have so many buildings that we have to pay out on. We have less to spend on capital. So we have to enter into debt. Costs us even more out of the lot. I would consider like the garbage truck tire. That would be a capital because those are very expensive, plus there's a lot of them. You know, I would say like if he just like ordered truck tires, that'd just be out of his operating budget. But and like the SIP lining, I think that's more of a capital item because if you wanna, I can't describe it very well,
The
but
project that we're doing right now is $270,000 to do 5,000 foot. And that was like the worst of the worst of the worst. We really hit some on the head, but we have roughly a little over 200,000 feet of sanitary sewer in town. You know, so some of that's new. We've lined some, so we could have, say, 100,000 that still needs, you know, kind of in that old clay tile area that does need attention. The cleaning and maintenance and stuff like that, we've always pretty much taken that out of the sewer fund. It's just when we start running low that we might have to say, hey, we're gonna pay 150,000 out of the sewer fund, but we're gonna have to take, you know, 50,000 from low option for the lining and 50,000 for the sewer fund. So it's just to help kind of do those funds a little bit, help pad those a little bit, I would say.
I mean, for example, like the sewer fund, I just talked to Brad, our insurance agent, and that with the new plant, our property and casualty insurance is gonna increase at least $100,000. That'll be less we can do.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is the, you know, the money we have coming in is here, but the expenses are here. And they just keep going up, you know, like a garbage truck, 265. 5 years ago, 450,000. I don't get it. Like Jim and I were talking, I can go buy an end loader, you know, for roughly 290. I had money built in there for a trade. There's a lot of moving pieces up there. Garbage truck, yes, the arm and all that stuff, but it's a lot
You
of.
mentioned, Josh, mentioned that garbage truck, red and butter, so we running our own garbage, so we're getting paid. How much bring it in on the garbage?
Probably after we pay all the bills, $500,000.
Around 400,000.
So
That helps all the other departments
And see,
in the general fund.
So $450,000 truck justifies it.
if it was an enterprise fund too, which a lot of cities, Des Moines, other places, they have those things set up as an enterprise fund. So what they bring in, you know, a lot of that, they keep going through some of that stuff. We don't, because honestly, can't, you know, like if that 400,000, I would say that we're bringing in from garbage. If we say, yeah, we're keeping that out here, you know, it was probably gonna lay off a couple, I mean, that's probably paying a couple officers or part of the rec or whatever, you know, so it does, it brings in a lot of stuff, you know, there's, but it's one of those things that everything's getting so expensive, you know, so if I would say, you know, we want to continue going down the garbage, doing garbage, you know, having that whole system, everything, we've got to keep these trucks good. 3 things left. Going back. Going back. All right, airport. This is for a replacement of this is for a John Deere 5075M tractor. It's not a mower, it's just a tractor out there. Right now, he currently has a tractor with an open cab. This would just be upgrade that tractor to a better tractor for him to do mowing with. The other thing tailgate spreader, and that's to go in the back of a pickup. For a small tailgate spreader to, put de-icing stuff that they can use on the runways. Jack's wanted to experiment with that. It's very expensive. Very, very, you can't just go put salt on a run, don't suck the jets, suck that in. So it's a de-icing product that is safe for runways. So that would be, have that for it. And then the last thing is there's some T hangers that are, let's say, what you say the Northwest, that'd be the Northwest out there kind of ish.
Green hangers or the
Yeah.
block hangers?
T hangers.
Yeah. Yeah, so it would be replacing the floors in some of those, with concrete, higher than that. They have dirt floors, dirt, gravel,
Yeah.
gravel, rock, mud, whatever. So, that's all I have. Not very much. That's all. Maybe I have a question. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Clients, Susie touched on this a little bit earlier in that color coded breakdown, but this is really for kind of those 657A properties. We do currently have a bucket of money. I would say it's around 38,000, 3,000. That is from the prior sales of those properties that we have already sold. So this would just kind of increase that bucket, and we really just filter it through. So once we go after some and those legal costs, or maybe we have liens that need to get paid off, whatever those costs are associated with that property, and it does vary depending on the property that once we would acquire that and work through selling that or whatever need it would be for purpose for the city, we will take that funding and get back in the bucket and just kind of rotate it through. 657A is what we've done so far for those, but the compliance officer and I have looked at maybe doing some tax sales as well. And then we do have some oddball properties that are currently non-conforming, that maybe, directly by themselves, ones that have houses or buildings have right of way and just kind of are odd properties. So we kind of look at some other unique ways to go after those. And
Did you want to do fire?
Yeah, I can do fire real quick. So Chief Hill has a full-time job and a part-time job as fire chief. He just had 3 items, a Polaris Ranger, mostly to help with, calls out on the bike trails, but primarily for grass fires or forest fires. I think they just had one at last week or the week before that some other departments had to bring some UTVs out for. And then I think we've been on a rotation of replacing the air packs, and those are getting more and more expensive. And then you'll notice, I want to say 10 years ago, we budgeted $10,000 a year for bunker gear. So that cost per set goes up every year still. So those are their 3 capital requests.
Now.
Like you say, you saved the best for last, but you took alphabetical order, I guess. So there's 2 recurring things on our capitals that was approved in the past. One of those is our Axon Taser renewal, which is 11,828. We are in our 3rd, I think. 3rd year for that at the 5-year lease type thing. And then the other one is the Motorola in-car camera body cam, and that we just passed last year. So that comes in at 17,196. So that we're in our 2nd full year of that.
We will be getting a refresh on our equipment here probably in another 6 months. So halfway through this contract of the 5 years, you get a refresh on the body cameras, not necessarily the in-car cameras, but all of our body cameras. So we'll get 15 new cameras sometime in the next probably 6 months to a year. They've been working out really well, so that's a good thing. So those are recurring. The other thing that we do annually is replace one of our squad cars. Our squad cars are doing really well at this point. So what we'd like to do this year, we have a 2011 Ford Fusion. It's got I think it's just rolled over 90,000 miles. Was our previous detective car, but it's kind of turned into we use that for transferring evidence to the lab, going to trainings, that kind of thing. When we promoted Detective Lieber to the detective role, what we ran into is a lot of times that was his car. It's nice to have an unmarked car when you're working investigations and that sort of thing, because people don't he can pull up into a neighborhood and talk with people and have people sit in his car. Doesn't feel like a cop car, which is super important. But the problem we run into is that car it's just not really suited very well for our needs of today with the equipment we need to carry. Plus it's older, and we ran into a problem with a lot of people in trainings. So we use that car to go to training because it's much cheaper to drive that car. So a lot of times Detective Leader would come to work and he wouldn't have a car because another officer had a training. And that happened quite a lot this last year. So what we're looking at doing is purchasing an unmarked car, which would be a police package cruiser, but it would just be left unmarked. It would have a few lights in it in case he needs to run emergency somewhere, and a police radio in it. So that's going to bring down the cost significantly. We're looking at between a Ford Explorer and a Dodge Durango. The Dodge Durango actually came in at $43,000, and you're looking at 46, I think, with the Explorer. So with that in mind, we figured we would go with the cheaper model, and plus the upfit with that is going to be a lot cheaper than a normal police car. We're talking probably, the number here is 52,000, but it's probably going to be less than that, because really there's not a lot to put on. There's not a lot of new lights that would go into it, that kind of thing. So we are asking that you would approve us to receive that car. And then if things do go south, the reason I wanted it to be a police cruiser is we could always upfit that to be a car that we could use on the road in case things don't turn out well next year. And we have to upfit that to an actual patrol car. So that's the reasoning behind that. The next priority that we really think is important is patrol rifles for each officer. As you know, with the school shooting, when you're in a building as large as the school, your police handgun is not going to be efficient. You're talking hallways that are 100 yards long, that kind of thing. So the next logical thing would be to have a patrol rifle. Currently, officers do carry patrol rifles, but those officers purchase each one of those rifles. And we're talking anywhere between probably like $1,200, and that's just the base model, up to probably $3,500 if you want to put all the bells and whistles. So with that in mind, we don't feel that it's probably the right thing to do to hire a new young officer and say, hey, you can carry a rifle, but you got to buy it yourself, when they're making the lowest wage that we pay here. That's a lot to ask somebody. And really, we feel, Sergeant Lott and myself, that we could regulate things better. Plus, we can keep track of each of those guns, and they're going to last a long time. So, I mean, if you buy a patrol rifle, I mean, you can shoot thousands of rounds through them. I think I purchased mine back in, I think we purchased those maybe in 2008, maybe, and I'm still carrying it, So, but what we're looking at doing is, I had Sergeant Lott and the other firearms instructor kind of come up with the best scenario for these patrol rifles. So if you look there, So we settled on a gun that we feel is probably the best at the cost and the best performance, that kind of thing, the best warranty, all that. That comes to a total of $23,440. That would be for 15 rifles. We currently have 13 officers. You at least want to have at least one extra, because if an officer gets involved in an officer-involved shooting, that gun is going to be seized by the DCI, even our handguns. So we have 2 extra handguns just for that reason. If you have 2 officers get involved in a shooting, their handgun is going to get seized. So we have to have something to give those officers to use while that investigation is going on, which sometimes can go on months. So we don't necessarily have to have 15, but 14 would be what we really would like to have. So with that, with those, the new kind of thing that law enforcement is going to is suppressors, and there's some really good health benefits to the suppressor. If you were to shoot an AR-15 in a school building, you're probably going to have some officers no longer working. The eardrums are going to be blown out. Just the fact of the matter, we don't wear hearing protection when we're out on the road. It's not practical, and they're just that loud. And with a suppressor, you're not going to have that issue. So it's really kind of a health thing. It's probably also going to help when we have a south wind coming from into town and we're down there shooting. We've all heard those loud bangs coming from there. The suppressors are certainly going to help with that as well when we're down there shooting, qualifying every year that we have to do. So suppressors come in at $11,085, and then we need to have some sort of sight on them, and we settled on a site that's like for 15 of them would be $8,985. So total, what you're looking at with lights that we put on there as well would be $43,110. Without the lights, you're looking at, I'm sorry, that's without. With the additional lights, it takes it up by another $3,000. So $46,830. That would be kind of our priority this year. There is you'll notice on there, Motorola portable radios. So our radios that we currently carry were purchased by the Dallas County Sheriff's Office. Well, I don't know if it's the Sheriff's Office or the county purchased all radios, in-car radios and portable radios 11 years ago, with the understanding that the cities would pick up that when they need place. So just like anything else, each one of those portable radios is around, it's close to, it's over $7,000 now per portable that he's carrying. And it's like a mini computer nowadays. It's not an analog, it's a digital platform, which they have to do constant upgrades to it and that sort of thing. Dallas County already replaced all their equipment last year. So we're probably good to get by this year, but next year we'll definitely have to start replacing our portable radios. And they came in at, to replace 15 of those, came in at $138,000. So that's a pretty spendy bill there, but we feel that we can probably get by without that this year. But next year, that'll definitely be a priority. So that's really the request that we have. We've also been talking about the possibility of bringing back our canine program, which I'm going to let Sergeant Lott kind of talk on that. The reason we had some officers super interested in it, they've done a lot of good background on this program. And we found a trainer from Minnesota, who actually has kind of guaranteed us, if we want a dog, that he has connections through a gentleman that owns a company in gosh, I can't think of the name of the town. Anyway, he runs a company up there, and he gives away 2 grants. Currently 1 grant a year, but he's going to start giving away 2 grants this next fiscal year. And he basically said if we want in on it, that we could possibly, he pretty much guarantee us to get us a free dog. There's another grant that would pay for the training, which is about $75 that would also go toward that training. So I'm gonna let it, Sergeant Locke kind of fill you in on a little bit more of that.
Jim, one question.
Yeah,
The radios, when you upgrade, what happens with your old one? Do you get a trade-in on it or just throw it out? Or?
so last year was the final year, so they basically end of life these. So they will no longer take them as trade-in. And so if one breaks currently, they're done. But the Dallas County Sheriff's Office has kept a whole bunch of them. They kept a large number of them. In case we would need them, then we do have some backups and we would probably hold on to some of these. Yeah. But you can't upgrade them anymore, so they're kind of, it's unfortunate that that's the way they are. But
You think you're gonna need a K9?
well, I mean, it's definitely a beneficial tool to have. We've had them in the past. It's been since 2013 was the last time we had a dog. We have probably at least a couple officers that would probably do really well with a canine. And we feel that it would be a beneficial tool to have not only for narcotic enforcement, but also to have for officer protection and then also tracking ability. So it's kind of we would be looking at dual purpose dog. Might as well get your bang for your buck.
So a lot.
So he's gonna kind of fill you in.
That was my first thought is, will that dog be able to sniff drugs?
Yeah, that would be the main purpose of having a dog. Yes, correct. Yeah. Oh, I thought you had that.
I do.
Sorry.
That way they can.
Oh, they can see it, yeah.
So.
And really, just to take a step back here, so this is just a proposal, and we feel that if we get approval to at least start exploring this idea that through fundraising for the next year, that we could really generate some really good support from the community, possibly with some new, these new plants coming to town, that they might generate some information as well. So we don't really feel it's gonna be a huge expense to the city of Perry, but we would like to have kind of a blessing to be able to start the process.
So, I guess the caveat of that, and to answer your question, Mr. Shelley, is, do we think this dog would be a huge thing to the city? Absolutely. Just this past year, a couple of years, we've taken more drugs off the street than we have in 5 years. There's been a very big uptick in some very dangerous drugs also. Fentanyl, methamphetamine has been around, heroin's making its way. So it's not only dangerous to the people that are using it, but it's dangerous to us. One whiff of fentanyl can actually kill an officer in seconds. So not even just an officer, but you guys, if we're to come across it. So do we think it'd be very beneficial? Absolutely. I put together like a small 2-page proposal. The first page just kind of goes through the general need of what kind of purpose, need, program overview, everything like that. Just to cut time and get to the nitty gritty. If you want to go to page. This is, so right there's your kind of overall what cost and everything else would be. Like Chief Archer was talking about, the trained police canine nowadays costs anywhere from 12,000 to 15,000, and then just training certification 5 to 7. I've been in, myself and Officer Perez have been in lengthy discussions with that trainer. His name is Trace. He is he's checking in almost weekly. I actually had a check-in with him yesterday. It said if we got the green light, he'd basically tell us that we would have a dog in January. A dog would be paid for, the training would be paid for. If we had a camper, that we could go up there and we wouldn't have to pay for housing. The entire training and everything that the officer could just stay in the camper. I would volunteer my camper. It wouldn't cost us really anything. We had talked about doing different canine vehicle modifications. So currently, we played it pretty well. In the last 2 Ford Explorers that we got from Stivers, they're actually canine cars. So part of the new case law with canine is the entire backseat of the car has to be open for that dog. It cannot be in a kennel. It has to have a way for it to get out, it has to have a way for it to breathe, ventilation system, water system, all that stuff. 241 and 251 are two newer patrol cars that we have that actually have that separate air system back. So it's got a controller mounted on the dash that has heating and cooling for canine already put in. That cost right now, just basically getting a quote from Cyber, that's to the penny. That if we needed to put the different, they call it a kennel system, but basically what it is, it deletes the back seat, puts in an overlay. We still have a third slot there, so if we need to transport a prisoner or anything like that, we can still do that. But the 2/3 of that back seat would be an entire metal portion for that dog to have free way to going. A heat alarm system, so if the car is getting too hot or anything like that, the officer itself would actually, it sets off 2 alarms, the officer would have it on his person, and that's along the same line as the door pop. And then the car would actually start going crazy. It basically notify anybody around that the car is getting way too hot and that dog needs to get out. So it'd save the dog's life. Obviously us from any liability there. Ventilation system, it's got a big fan that goes in the window so it ventilates fresh air into the back seat of the car. And then a door pop is having a dual purpose dog or anything like that. If that officer is in any sort of trouble, anything like that, they can hit a button, the door will automatically pop open and that dog will come out. So it will help that end. Kind of caveat, those first 2 numbers, I put the asterisk there, just because the available grants that Trace has kind of pretty much guaranteed us is that money would kind of go away. So initially we'd be looking at upfitting the vehicle, canine equipment and gear. That's leashes, bite sleeves, protective equipment. The nice thing, if we go with Trace, all the leashes, anything we need, collars, anything like that, he actually gives us to us. Bite sleeves and protective equipment. So if we have a dual purpose dog, we would actually need to buy a bite suit so we could train that way. This I thought was awesome. The initial veterinary and medical costs. Veterinary Medical Associates here in town, I went and spoke with them. They told me that if we were to get a canine, that all of the yearly shots and normal routine visits, everything is at free of cost to us. They would pay us, have us charge us anything. The only thing that we would have to pay is if for some reason that dog got sick, injured, anything like that, any of those medicines, any of that we would have to pay for. That would be at their cost. So whatever they pay to get that medicine, that's what we would pay. No extra cost for the vet, anything like that, vet visit, stuff like that. I did put in annual costs. That also, Trace has actually told us too that he would constantly send us Purina coupons. So we could basically walk into places like Tractor Supply here in town, give them a coupon, and we would get that for free. So that's kind of a caveat. So obviously we have to keep the dog, make sure it's taken care of, everything like that. I wholeheartedly believe, just in speaking with people that are growing up in this town, that I believe you all know that this dogs do very well here. And just the overall need and just care and maintenance of the dog, it'll get taken care of. We've kind of talked about contracts and everything like that. I feel that we have a contract, could get a contract in place for whoever wanted the dog as the officer. It would keep that officer here for the life of the dog. That's the plan. I want to negate that 2 years I'm here, I got a bigger, better job, and I'm out here now, I got to train somebody else. So we've kind of looked at doing different things like that to keep someone here. And then not only that, but like Chief Archer had mentioned, I've kind of, you guys are seeing it. I came up with like a flyer that I know that in the past, the city has been done very well as far as supporting our canine. I know 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when Chief Vaughn was here, I actually had a member of the community reach out and ask me how much it cost to build a car for a canine. And he told me I told him $75,000 and said, come find me, I'll let you chat. So I know that the people out there in the community would stand behind this, and I feel like they would. I would be as confident to say that I think going through this, normal cities, I know when Liz and I had talked, I compared cities. I've got multiple emails from different cities around us, just in like Knoxville, Preston, different sheriff agencies all over this all over close to us. Their annual, some of them, they annual budget annually $5,000 towards their dog. The lowest I saw was 1,100. Every single one of them said that they actually get enough donations and everything that has paid for that years across the board. So they generally don't end up spending any money on the dog through the city. It's all based on funding that's been brought up through this exact thing. So, kind of preemptively, kind of gone out, just having talks with Sven and Susie and Liz and everybody, and just kind of preemptively did some thinking and talking and just kind of maybe getting some verbal agreements. And we do have some verbal already agreements that people will be like, yeah, let us know. Businesses here in town, East Harbor, Ivy, Tractor Supply, Boundary has offered to help out too, and just a few others. So I know, I don't think we would have an issue getting those initial costs kind of done. But like Jim said, I think we're just looking for a green light to really kind of go ahead with this. And I know this is something I've been very passionate about. Those who sat in on my interview and when I first got here, this has been a passion of mine for 6 years. It's one thing that I've wanted to bring back to the town. Very, very beneficial.
What's average life expectancy? It retires after so.
Yep. So average life expectancy is about 8 to 9 years.
And to retire.
8 to 9. Normal, we're looking at a Dutch Shepherd. Usually their life expectancy anywhere from 10 to 12 years. Might be even, just depends on how much that dog's used, worked, all that good stuff.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What was the reason for the discontinuation of the program? 2013, is that when you said the last time we did that was?
That one was, Trace, Clay Leonard, was the one that kind of spearheaded that. Got the program up and running, and then he left like a year later. And there was no one that really was ready to take over that dog. So that dog was sold to, I believe it went to Woodbury County. And we kept the car. We used the car, the regular patrol car, but so that was the reason why it went away last year. Just lack of the officers, that wanted to take it over.
And there is, from when we sold the dog, there is still a special account set up. And there's $3,000 in it for, they can use like for seed money for that dog. It's a special dog fund that they can use it for that.
I like the point that you made that you're gonna basically lock in that officer for extended time.
Yeah,
We won't lose that officer with the dog.
it's pretty specialized, kind of, that's a lot of specialized training that one person gets. So we feel that whoever we pick to have that's going to have to put some skin in the game as well, because we don't want to be in the same situation that we were last time. So yeah, that would be a contract is a very good idea to have signed by that officer. Yep. Any other questions on the capitals? This really isn't a capital request. This was just something on the side, but anything else on the capitals? And just for, if you haven't heard, Officer Lurch is back. He came back home a couple weeks ago from Iraq. So he's back working this week. So he's got some training to get caught up on before we can send him out on his own again. But we anticipate within the next week and a half, we'll have him back. I'll have all the certifications back up, qualifications, and be ready to be, which is certainly going to help out because we're still too short right at the moment. So once we get him back to full staff, or once we get him back to full duty, we'll be just one short at that.
You remind me of one question I had.
Yeah.
Actually. With the standard, like if we standardize the rifles for everyone, do we then need to do standardized training for those? Is that something we can do in-house? Is that?
Yeah, we have 2 certified rifle instructors. So
I'm the only one like that had
I have another one going.
Yeah. Landon.
Landon Goose is gonna be going to rifle school this summer. So we'll have 2 rifle instructors. So we'll be able to do all that training here in Perry. So we get a And if you go to the academy, you already get certified on an AR, on a rifle course. So coming out of the academy, you're already certified, you just have to get certified on art.
Guessing that there's safety advantages to everybody having the same thing.
Same equipment, same, yeah, interchangeable magazines, it would be, because right now there's a hodgepodge, everybody kind of has whatever they want. So this way, everybody would have the same equipment, you could technically pick up the gun and be familiar with it, even though it may not be sighted in for you. If that should ever come down, that would be an added benefit to having we all carry the same handgun. So we should all be carrying the same rifle. Yep.
Minimal cut down on errors, maintenance. Some AR platforms don't like different world solving and stuff like that. Minimal cost and everything else. You mentioned the suppressor. Or walking in right now, back off the round. Yeah. Might be medically retired. So just being able to have a suppressor.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, well, what I would like to do next is, later this week, I'll be gone tomorrow because my husband's having surgery, but I'll be back on Friday. Sometime early next week, I would like to meet with Sven about the capitals, go over them a little bit, narrow them down with the department heads, finish up all of the operating costs, see how we're looking there, and also narrow those down with the department heads. And then at the second meeting in March, the 16th, have like a work session before that meeting. Go over that. Does that sound all right with everybody?
That be recommendations and approvals then?
Yes, because then by April 2nd, I would need to have everything ready for the public hearing, to set the public hearing on the 6th.
You said that meeting with us would be the second week of March, that would be said.
The second meeting in March, yes, the 16th.
And when would you like to schedule?
Well, before the meeting.
Yeah, I think in the past, we've done it for about an hour. If that sounds about right. Start the work session at 5 and then hold our regular meeting at 6.
Planning that. Have it in my calendar.
I would love it if you put it in your calendar. It works.
I do too.
Or Sven will call me. Where are you?
To your credit, I haven't had to call you for a little bit of time.
For that meeting to start at 5?
That meeting, yeah, it would potentially start, if it works for everybody, would start at 5 and then we'd roll into our regular meeting at 6. So then the meeting on, on the 16th, so 5 and then 6. And then your regular meeting on April 6th would also be a 2-meeting part, because the April 6th meeting is the one that requires the special on its own meeting alone for the consolidated stuff. So you'll have a meeting at 5:30 on the 6th, and then again, a regular meeting at 6. April 6th. Come on, Jeremy.
That's all you need to know.
Come on the 16th. We'll get you settled out for the April 6th.
And while everybody, excuse me, Mr. Mahler. While everybody has their phone out, could you look at your availability on March 10th? Probably maybe early afternoonish, March 10th.
1
Yeah.
1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Is that
okay.
we had
Yeah, I think that's kind of, because you thought,
this is a meeting with the Iowa DOT to discuss the Willis and 141 intersection. Have a conversation. I think 1 o'clock. On the 10th, if everybody's available.
Or if it needed to be earlier, I can't remember if you said the DOT had. Did they have
They're-
opening that whole day?
They're open all day on the 10th.
Yeah, so if you don't want to do it in the afternoon and you rather do like an 11 o'clock, there's flexibility on that too.
There's pickleball in the morning.
Well, I thought pickleball was over by 11. I thought it was at 10, Barb. I had my timing off, sorry.
I have some ideas.
We're gonna go with, 1 o'clock on the March 10th then.
That works
Yep.
for everybody. So you should have March 16 at 5 PM for another budget hearing. And then you should have the next one coming up March 10th at 1 PM. No. Regular time. Regular time. April. Your first meeting in April will be your 5:30.
Liz can send out an email.
Yeah,
Confirm
I will.
all of these.
so I'll send it all out.
Hey,
I'll call. Yeah.
And we'll talk about the April 6th one because it'll be an action item on the agenda for Monday's meeting. So that'll get discussed again.
You're doing anything else to add, Ben?
I don't believe so.
common theme this afternoon with our presentation for capitalism and affordability. Everything keeps going up, just here, just make it at home.
Yes, that's right.
Life insurance. Anything else? Okay, Julie, third. Next meeting starts in 11 minutes.
Yep.